Hello and welcome to Deakin's Virtual Open Day. My name is Karen Gould, Head of International Recruitment, and welcome to this presentation on international student life at Deakin. I wish to begin by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations, the traditional owners of the land where I am joining you today. We acknowledge the elders, past, present and emerging, of all the land where we work and live on, and their ancestral spirits with gratitude and respect. Studying in a foreign country is a great privilege and it's full of amazing opportunities. And today I'm going to briefly talk about how international students can make the most of their time while studying at Deakin University and living in one of our campus communities, either in Melbourne, Geelong or Warrnambool. You are also invited to join our live Q&A session where you'll have the opportunity to ask current international student questions about their experiences as an international student studying at Deakin and living in Australia. In today's session, I'll talk about preparing for life at Deakin, embracing the opportunities that will come your way, not only at Deakin, but also in the community, making friends. You may be a little bit nervous about arriving at Deakin if you do not know anyone. Don't worry, there's many ways that you can make new friends at Deakin. And living at one of our campus communities, either in Melbourne, Geelong or Warrnambool. As you're aware, the Australian borders are closed due to the pandemic. The Victorian government is continuing to work with education providers and the Australian government on a plan to gradually return international students to Victoria when conditions allow. Timing for the commencement of international student arrivals is yet to be confirmed. This will depend on health advice, the rollout of vaccines, and other factors that need to be considered to ensure the safety of the community. If you're currently located outside of Australia, you may be interested in our online to on-campus pathway, which I will discuss later in the session. We want you to enjoy your university experience as well as succeeding in your studies, which is why we offer a complete range of support services, from orientation and welcome sessions to academic support and social activities. If you're currently offshore, keep an eye out for pre-departure sessions, which are normally scheduled a month before the trimester starts. The pre-departure events provide you with an opportunity to meet other new Deakin students and learn basics such as what clothes to pack, because we are known for 4 seasons in one day, and other cultural differences. Contact your agent for information about pre-departure sessions in your country. To help you settle into your life in Australia, we will pick you up from the airport when you land in Australia for the first time, once the borders are open, of course. This is a free service for all international students when they start their studies at Deakin University. We also offer an orientation and international student welcome program, which is designed to give you the best start to your life in Australia and studies at Deakin. You'll participate in a range of fun and informative activities that are delivered online and on campus. And of course, we offer specialist support for international students on every campus. For example, assistance in adjusting to life in Australia, or how to renew your student visa, or information about work rights. As I said, we want you to make the most of your life at university while you study, and developing a strong friendship group is important to your success at Deakin. One of the best ways to make friends is to join a club or society and meet other students who have similar interests to yourself. Clubs and societies range from sporting clubs such as badminton or volleyball club, to course-related clubs such as the Commerce Society. There are cultural clubs, might be Indian, Malaysian, Indonesian, or faith-based clubs such as the Christian Union or the Islamic Society. And then there's all sorts of other clubs, such as the Snow Club, the Movie Club, the Theatre and Arts Troupe, and Movie Club. Why don't you check out the clubs and societies in the link provided. Deakin's had the highest level of satisfaction of Victorian universities for more than 10 years. And I think that our student mentoring program is one of the reasons why students are very satisfied. There are many different types of student mentors who are there to help you during your Deakin journey, such as maths mentors, writing mentors, and faculty-specific mentors. Not only can they support you academically, but it is another great way to make friends, improve your networks at the university. You'll also have the opportunity to give back to the Deakin student community by becoming a peer mentor yourself, and by doing so, develop important skills that employers are looking for, such as teamwork, communication, and problem-solving skills. Maintaining health and wellbeing is an important part of your Deakin experience. You may wish to represent Deakin competitively in a team sport or just play sport socially. You may want to work out at the gym or go for a leisurely walk around Deakin's beautiful campuses. Deakin Activity is there to help you achieve your health and wellbeing goals while you're studying at Deakin. And of course, there's always something happening on campus or online, from big events such as the annual Deakin Diwali Festival, to free barbecues, sports carnivals, and club activities. Working part-time whilst you study is a great way to meet new people and really understand the Australian culture, as well as developing important skills and knowledge necessary for your career progression. Whilst you're in Australia on a student visa, you can work up to 40 hours over 2 weeks and full-time during the university breaks. As a Deakin student, you'll be able to access the Deakin Talent, which is our careers and employment service. The International Student Careers Program is designed exclusively for international students, and it will help you develop your employability and marketability necessary to achieve your career goals. Through the program, you'll be able to access events, student panels and resources, such as understanding the Australian job market and employer expectations, strategically building your skills and network while studying by getting involved in various experiences, and planning and implementing an effective job search strategy. And we really recommend that you make the most of these opportunities offered by Deakin Talent to build your network and look for employment opportunities. Finding accommodation that will suit your lifestyle and budget is an important factor when you start your studies at Deakin. You can choose to live on campus in the student residences at all of our campuses. It is a great way for you to meet other students, to be able to continue to practice your English language skills, and there's also opportunities to develop leadership skills, for example, by becoming a residential leader. You may prefer to live off campus, and to assist you find suitable accommodation, we have an online accommodation finder. It's the best place to start when you're looking for accommodation off campus. Please join us for the session on accommodation to learn about the various accommodation options available in more depth. If you're currently located outside of Australia and are not able to join us on campus, you can start your degree online, and when Australia's borders reopen, travel to Australia to commence your on-campus study. As part of the online to on-campus pathway, you can study either 1, 2, 3, or 4 units online each trimester before continuing and completing your studies in Australia. And the flowcharts there show you the various options you have through the O2O model. The Australian Government is currently granting visas for students who lodge a student visa application outside of Australia. This means that you'll be able to come and finish your studies in Australia as soon as that option is available. It also means that you can meet the post-study work rights eligibility criteria, even if you complete some of your studies online offshore. Post-study work rights enable international students who have completed at least 2 years of an Australian degree to work in Australia for 2 to 5 years, depending upon their level of your course and nationality. It's a fantastic opportunity to further develop your employability skills and to set you up for success, whether you want to return home or apply for a permanent residency. If you start your studies online, you will also receive the COVID bursary, which is a 25% tuition bursary for all subjects completed online prior to you being able to travel and study on campus. Again, another fantastic opportunity to make savings while you're studying online. Why don't you register for Deakin's Return to Australia mailing list to receive updates, news and announcements about Australia's borders relating to the return of international students to Australia. If you are studying offshore, you may be able to use one of the study hubs. These are Victorian government study hubs located in Shanghai, which opened several months ago, and hubs to be open later this year in KL, Ho Chi Minh City and Bangalore. All you need to do is book a desk at the hub, bring your laptop, connect to the hub's Wi-Fi network and start studying. It's an opportunity for you to work collaboratively with other students or find a quiet place to research or meet other students at the organised student activities. If you're located in China, you may wish to study at one of our offshore learning centres based at some of our Chinese partner universities. At the offshore learning centres, you can access the host university's facilities, such as the library, free Wi-Fi and sporting facilities while studying Deakin online. While studying at Deakin, whether you're at our Melbourne, Geelong or Warrnambool campuses or studying online, you can utilise the services provided by Study Melbourne, a Victorian Government initiative. Study Melbourne offers a range of activities that will enable you to further develop your leadership, entrepreneurial and communication skills, skills that future employers are looking for. You can access these services at the Study Melbourne office in Melbourne or via their website. If you're based in Geelong, you may wish to connect with Study Geelong, another Victorian Government initiative that helps international students find out what is going on in Geelong. One great initiative is the International Friends Program, where you will be matched with a local personal family for 12 weeks to get to know each other and share your cultures. It's a great opportunity to practice your English in a non-classroom setting, develop intercultural skills, make friends, and increase your local knowledge of Geelong. A big part of your journey as an international student is to explore the Australian environment and culture. So I'm going to briefly tell you a little bit about the cities where our campuses are located. Melbourne is consistently voted as one of the world's most livable cities and one of the best cities in the world for studying abroad. There's always something going on in Melbourne. You can live it up at some of the biggest free events in the Southern Hemisphere. You may want to go to one of the international activities such as the International Comedy Festival, the Australian Tennis Open, Formula One Grand Prix, or the various food and wine and film festivals. And Victoria is also known as the Garden State of Victoria. So that means there's many parklands, walking trails and beautiful beaches for you to chill out on. I've given some examples there of some of the activities that are happening right now. You can see some of the varied things that you can do to be involved in the Melbourne community. And then there's Geelong, and Geelong is only an hour away from Melbourne. So of course you're going to be busy doing things in Melbourne, as well as immersing yourself in the activities in Geelong. And there are plenty of things to do in Geelong. Geelong is surrounded by an abundance of world-famous tourist destinations and natural wildlife. And I've included some examples here that illustrate the beautiful natural beauty around Geelong. And of course, there's all sorts of other activities, such as music festivals, there's an international cycling competition, and the Australian International Air Show is just down the road. And one of the most beautiful parts of Victoria is Warrnambool. Warrnambool is Victoria's 5th largest city and the largest town on the famous Great Ocean Road, just a few hours out of Melbourne. In Warrnambool, you can join the stunning natural landscapes, eat the locally sourced food, and watch the whales as they pass by every June to October. Why don't you watch the information sessions about studying at Warrnambool that are part of our virtual open day? Finally, you may want to check out our student stories on our Navigator blog site. Our students have shared genuine stories about how they've overcome the challenges of moving to another country, the opportunities they have embraced, and tips for the future. And there's student profiles from students from all around the world for you to read. I strongly recommend that you check them out. Thanks to all of you for joining us today. It really has been so great to see so many of you interested in this session on life as an international student. If you'd like to know more, please explore our resources on this page or across the Virtual Open Day website. I also encourage you to join us at the live Q&A session, where you'll have the chance to ask current international students who are studying either online from their home country or are based in Australia about their experience studying at Deakin or living in Australia. If you have any questions, you can speak to our experts on the web chat at any time throughout the day. And you can do this by checking on the speech bubble at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. I hope that you found this session valuable and that you've enjoyed your open day experience. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Welcome to the International Student Life at Deakin Live Q&A session. We're so excited to have you join us here today for Deakin's Virtual Open Day. I'm Bree, I'm one of the international managers here at Deakin, and today I'm joined by such an exciting panel of presenters. They're going to be able to answer all of the questions that you have about being an international student at Deakin. So on our panel today, we have Karen Gould. Karen is the head of our international recruitment team at Deakin, and joining her, we're thrilled to have three current international students. We have Ahan from India. He's currently studying our Masters of Public Health. We have Gloria from Vietnam, who is studying our Bachelor of Communication, specialising in public relations. And then we have Krishna, who's all the way from Indonesia. She's also studying the Bachelor of Communication, but she's specialising in digital media. It's going to be great to be able to get their insights and their first-hand experiences. So there is an International Student Life at Deakin information session live on the website now, along with another couple of sessions that we'll talk about a little bit later that you can go back and watch after this session if you haven't seen it already. But now is really the chance for you to submit any questions that you might have through the live Q&A session that you should see on your box, on your screen right now. So you should just be able to type everything in, send in everything. We'll put as many to the panel live on screen for you today. And at the same time, we do have a team working behind the scenes that will get to anything in writing as well. So if we aren't able to get to everything, because we do have a limited time today, we will have a team of experts on the live web chat after the session for about 15 minutes or so. You should be able to see a little yellow chat now icon at the bottom of your screen. You'll be able to hit that and you can get connected with our team once we've finished. So let's get started. And while all of the questions are starting to come in, I'm going to kick this off with a question to our students to give us some advice on those who are going through that current decision-making process. And I want to know, how did you decide on your course at Deakin and in Australia? Gloria, could we start with you to share a bit about your experience?
Sure. So hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm doing Bachelor of Communication, specializing in public relations at Deakin University. And I guess that this has been something that I have always wanted to do. When I think about my future career, I've always wanted to use my words for the good of the world, and I want to work with the media, I want to work with languages, and I want to work in marketing and communication. So when I was looking at the Bachelor of Communication or Journalism courses around the world, I was particularly attracted by the course on offer at Deakin University, because Deakin boasts great expertise, and Deakin was in the top 1% of the word for my course and for the other courses in general, I believe. Deakin also has a really appealing scholarship program, and those are the reasons why I decided to choose to study at Deakin.
Thanks, Gloria. You've touched on some really great topics that I'm sure we'll get to throughout the course of the session. Now, Krishna, you chose the same course as Gloria. Is there anything you can add about how you made your decision?
Yeah, so I took digital media, and I've always been interested in advertising. So because I have learned advertising before, I feel like I want to broaden my, my knowledge to digital media because they are connected in a way. So when I choose digital media, I think that the more that I master one point of advertising, which is digital media, then I feel like my, when I broaden my chances in digital media, I feel like I can master it. And then also I want to learn new things from digital media because I've been interested in advertising. Also that my dream is to have one of my advertising on a billboard and also on a TV or something like that. And digital media helped me to achieve that dream. I guess that's it. So that's why I choose digital media, because I believe in Deakin University as well. And then they have been giving me, they have good programs as well from the other programs that I've seen.
Thanks, Krishna. We do have a special spot at Deakin on pets at Deakin, so I'm sure we'll have to feature your cat at some point. So I'm going to come over to you, Ahan, because you're in a completely different discipline. You're doing public health. Could you share a little bit about your experience and why you picked Australia for it?
So when I was kind of thinking about going out of India, I had a couple of options like, Australia, UK, United States, Canada, a couple of them. But I did a bit of research by myself, and Australia's public health system is one of the best in the world. So that was one of the biggest reasons why I chose Australia as a country. And then Melbourne, because I have some family here, and Deakin University, because they have, as Gloria said, top 1% in the world for my course as well, and in general. And they have a specific Deakin India bursary, the scholarship for Indian students. So I had an opportunity to grab that. They offered me that scholarship, Deakin University, and that was the reason I chose Deakin, because of the ranking and because of the scholarship that they provided.
Great reasons. Thanks to all of our students. I'm just going to come to Karen now. So we've heard why our students have chosen us, but with the students who are still trying to make that decision, what recommendations would you have for them in choosing their degree and where they're doing it?
Thanks, Bree. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. The key part is to do your research. I can tell you how great Deakin is, and our student panel can tell you how great Deakin is, and that's backed up by our student satisfaction survey results. It's backed up by our rankings, but you need to do your homework. You need to explore whether you want to live in Melbourne, whether you want to live in Australia, what the courses are that Deakin offers. What subjects do you do in each course? Are they the sorts of course subjects that get you really excited and that you really want to study them? And compare them with other universities and what they offer. Because this is a big decision that you're making, so you do need to spend the time into doing your research into the location of the university, as well as the course and the graduate outcomes.
Thanks, Karen. I'm going to stick with you for a minute, because that's great for all of the students who are still making the decision, but we do have a lot of our international students who have already decided Deakin's their destination and they want to come to Australia. And the $1 million question is around the borders in Australia, which we all understand. Now, Karen, I don't expect you to have a crystal ball, but I'm wondering if you could just explain what the current situation is in Australia and what options students do have.
Thanks, Bree. I think I'd be a millionaire for every time I've been asked this question. We're just eagerly waiting for the borders to open so we can welcome our new international students onto campus. But at the moment, as you know, the Australian borders are closed to protect the Australian community from COVID-19. So at this stage, we're lucky at Deakin that we are a leader in the provision of online study. We've been doing education online and by distance for 40 years, and we're seen as one of the leaders in that space. So for those students who are really keen to get started now, they don't have to defer their studies. They can start their journey with us online, and they'll all be eligible for a COVID bursary, which is 25% off the fees. And then when the borders open, they'll be able to come and resume their studies on campus. And the other good thing is that while students study online, they can apply for their student visa, which means that they'll start being eligible for post-study work rights. So those students who want to stay in Australia after they finish their study for 2 to 3 years can do that by getting their student visa while they're studying online. So there's no reason to delay, and we've got all the support services there to help students while they start their studies online.
Thanks, Karen. So our students have all been studying online. So I'd like to hear from them their experience. Now, Ahan, I know in India, online study traditionally, and this applies to many countries around the world, hasn't been something that's been in the forefront, but now everybody around the world knows about it. Can you tell us about your experience learning online? Because you've been doing it while you've been in Australia. So can you share a little bit about that?
So what happened with me when I came here last March, just before the pandemic began. So I started a week of on campus, and then all of a sudden everything went online, and it was all online, because of the pandemics. But for me, as you said, coming from India, I've never had the experience of learning online. But with Deakin University, they have had such a seamless, I've had such a seamless experience because the infrastructure was always there, as you said, because since 40 years. And even before the pandemic, what we did our studies online 60%. Like we go through our unit content and assignments, everything is online. And then we go to the seminars to add upon that on campus. It was already like that structure here in Deakin University. And just with the pandemics, it just happened that our classes just went online. But the study method, the core, which has always been online, stayed online, because Deakin has been doing that for a long time. So I didn't have any problem in transitioning because I already did that in the first few weeks when I came here, and I just transitioned right to the online pathway that carried on after the pandemic hit.
Fantastic, Ahan. I think that's really valuable for people to understand that even if you are studying online, all of it's going to apply when you come and study on campus anyway.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So Krishna, I'm going to come to you because you're in a slightly different scenario, which is what a lot of our audience will be in too. And you haven't actually been to Australia yet. So could you choose to study online your full degree with us? Can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Okay, so actually, last July, I'm supposed to go to Australia, but because of the pandemic, I can't. And then they told me that I can go on this February, but because of the pandemic, I can again. And then they told me again I can go a few months ago. But yeah, it's always the same reason I can. But however, studying online with Deakin University, it's actually for me still equal to studying face to face because they give us complete materials. So in Deakin, we have around like 10 to 11 weeks. And in the website, Deakin Sync, we can see the materials in advance. So the lectures have already give us the materials from week 1, week 2, and week 3. So we can already study in advance, even before the seminar. And I think that is great. Instead of we have to wait until the seminar to learn something. So we can review it first. And also we can look for our reading materials. So they don't just leave us in the dark, because sometimes when you have online classes, some lecturers like to just, okay, here's your materials and I'm not going to do anything. But Deakin do not do that. They really help you like from step to step, even of the seminars and on the seminars of the seminars. By that, I mean, you are free to send any emails to your lecturers regarding if you're having a problem with your unit, or also you can send a question in a discussion board. They also have it. If you send a question in a discussion board in your unit in Deakin Sync, your lecturers will reply it. So it's actually really open the bridge connection between lecturers and also students. I think that's a very important thing in this online learning, because I didn't imagine that it would be like that when I think I'm going to study online. I think that, oh, how am I going to speak with my lecturers? I don't even know them like that, right? But then Deakin proved me otherwise. So, it's been good. It's been very good.
Great, Krishna. It's wonderful to hear you've had so much support. And that is one of the questions that's come in. So I'm going to come to you, Gloria, because your experience has again been different, where you've done quite a bit of study on campus in Australia, and then you've moved to online. But I'm going to ask you more about your on-campus time for the minute, and just how you found interacting between domestic and international students, as well as if you could touch on the support you've received.
Yeah, so I was probably the luckiest of the students here, because I've studied at Deakin for a year in 2019. And the on-campus experience is definitely wonderful. We've got a lot of events. The facilities are excellent. I love the library and the dynamics, the interaction in the classroom between the teachers and the students is great. I do learn a lot about the Australian culture. I do learn a lot about my field And I do learn a lot about communication through being on campus and through interacting with other students and the teachers. What I like about Deakin University is that the classes are small and the interaction, the opportunity to interact with your fellow students and your teachers is ample. So back in my home country, Vietnam, we have large classes and the teacher would stand in the front of the classroom and lecture to us, and we don't have a lot of chances to ask questions or to discuss with the other students. But it's totally different in Australia. I feel like the experience is much more personalized, and we also have to take a lot of responsibility for our own learning. And I feel that the learners are in control of the classroom. So I really love that.
Thanks, Gloria. And how did you find making friends?
That's a great question. So I make friends mainly through clubs. Deakin has a student association called DUSA, and they have like, I think, hundreds of clubs that cover a range of interests. We've got academic clubs, multicultural clubs, sports clubs, interest clubs. So I joined Deakin TV, which is a film and TV club, even though I'm not studying film at all. You're welcome to join any clubs that you want. So I joined Deakin TV and Deakin Debating Society, Deakin Writers Club, Deakin International Affairs Society, and none of these have anything to do with my interest because those clubs are open to all members. And I also attend a lot of events on campus. These are also great ways to make friends.
Fantastic, Gloria. Thanks for sharing such a positive experience. Sounds like there's really a club for everyone. And I'm sure if there's not, you and your friends could make one. So Karen, would you be able to share from the university perspective, what support is there for international students, both studying online and when they're on campus?
Gosh, there's a lot of support available, Bree. And I think the important thing for our students to keep in mind is to always ask for help. So it's really important. So the support can vary from, we've got a Deakin Talent. So I think some of the students here today have used Deakin Talent. It's a way of helping students prepare for employment, both on a part-time basis when you're currently studying in Australia, for the best possible career when you graduate. So that might involve workshops for international students, help putting together your job application, interviewing skills, those sort of things, Deakin Talent. We've got a lot of support in terms of student mentors. So student mentors who can help you with writing or your maths or peer assisted learning. Because sometimes students, you can get your support from the academic staff, of course, but sometimes you just want to meet with students and try and get support from a more senior student who's an expert in that area. And then we have a lot of support if you're finding it hard transitioning to life in Australia, for example, or finding it hard to transition to studying online. We've got student support advisors here who will be able to assist you and give you tips and hints and help you adjust to your study at Deakin. So there are a lot of support services. It's just a matter of asking for help.
Thanks, Karen. And again with you, you're still in the hot seat. I just wanted to know about the support for accommodation. So we've been asked about the pros and cons of living on and off campus. So if you'd be able to give some guidance to students who are considering either of those.
Certainly. I myself, when I studied at university many hundreds of years ago, I lived on campus and it was one of the best experiences I had because it's a really good way to make friends in a very supported area. So there are options to study or to stay on campus at each of our campuses. It's residential style, so you have your own bedroom, but you'd share a living area and a kitchenette with other students in your apartment. And it is very supportive. There's lots of activities to build a community on campus. We've got ambassadors there, so there's senior students to support you in your services, and there's opportunities to develop leadership skills and community activities. So, and the other advantage is it's right on campus, so you can save on time. You can sleep into 5 to 9 and be at your lecture by 9 o'clock. But that's not for everyone. So some students would prefer to live off campus. And we do have a database that lists all types of accommodation that's available for students at Deakin. And you can search that by the amount of money you have to spend, whether you want to live by yourself, you would like to live in another house with other students. So that's the database on there. So if you just Google Deakin accommodation, it'll come up with all the different options. So it depends on what style of living you want, what your budget is really.
Thanks, Karen. And Ahan, you're obviously living somewhere in Melbourne right now. Can you share with us what option you've chosen and why you took that route?
When I came here, I was living with my family initially for a couple of months. Then I got got my first job using Deakin Talent, and then another job through one of my friends from university, from one of my classes. He referred me to a job. So when I got a job, I planned to move out, and I'm currently living in, it's half an hour from the university. It's in Croydon North. And yeah, here, it's very easy. I am still close to the university, not too far. It's public transport is accessible. And I've chosen to stay like in about 30 minutes from the university right now, so I can still go when the classes open, when the lockdown ends. I can still go on campus and attend the classes from where I live right now.
Thanks, Ahan. And just before I move on to talking about Deakin Talent and employment opportunities, there's been a great question come in the chat from Aylin, and Ahan, they want to know on a lighter note, do they have to worry about all of the snakes and spiders and horrible bugs that we hear about here in Australia?
It is a bit exaggerated, but yeah, like coming from India, yes, in India you have ants and sometimes mouses somewhere, but here I never knew. I saw photos on Facebook and memes and stuff like people joking, oh, they're going to be spiders. But when I moved to my own place, I did see a couple of spiders here and there. So I keep a spray and a broom to kind of knock them whenever I see them. But not that much. But yeah, it's still an Australian experience, I would say.
But they're not scary.
They're not scary. They're not scary at all. You do find them here and there.
Thanks, Ahan. So, Gloria, I'm going to come to you because I know that you've had lots of experience with Deakin Talent, and we've heard Karen and Ahan both mention it. Could you tell us exactly what Deakin Talent is from your experience, how you've been engaged with them? And also, I know that you've done an internship while you've been at Deakin, or maybe even a couple. Could you share about your experience there?
Sure. So Deakin Talent has a very special place in my heart. They held the very first workshops that I attended at Deakin, and they gave me a clear overview of the Australian employment market, the Australian labour market, and what I need to do to start preparing for my career from day one at Deakin University. And so I became their student ambassador, and it was a great honour. So Deakin Talent is Deakin University's graduate employment service that will give all Deakin University students and alumni lifelong access to the career preparation webinars, resources, and consultation. You will learn how to create a perfect resume that meets Australian standards, or a cover letter, or how to write key selection criteria, or how to answer interview questions, how to search for job opportunities, how to build your network in Australia, etc. They will give you from A to Z instructions on how to build your career from scratch in Australia. So I highly recommend getting involved with them from day one. And if I'm not mistaken, they're also the best, or one of the best career services, university career services in Australia. And I found my very first jobs from their jobs board. I also did an internship with their freelancing hub, which is a project where you can work with a real life client with interns from different faculties in the university. My second internship, I also found through their jobs board, and those are just some of the perks they can offer you when you study at Deakin.
Thanks, Gloria. And did you do your internship as part of your course, or was it separate? How did that work?
Oh, both of my internships are part of my course. So in my course, it was compulsory to do an internship unit, so as to gain real life experience and start building a portfolio, start building up your resume, so that when you graduate, you can already have some experience to showcase to your employers. And I was really lucky to learn a lot from that internship and to turn that internship into a paid job. So an internship can be a great door for you to enter the professional work after graduation. And I found that internship on Deakin Talent's jobs board as well. I actually found a lot of opportunities on there. So it's a gold mine.
That's great, Gloria. So exciting that you've gotten work in your relevant field, which I think all of our students have actually managed to do, find some part-time work. But Karen, would you be able to just talk us through what international students are allowed to do in terms of part-time work while they're studying?
Absolutely. So people who are on a student visa, during the trimester time whilst you're studying, you can work up to 40 hours per fortnight. But during the holidays, you can work full time. So there are restrictions about your hours, but it's a great opportunity not only to save some money, which I call for party money, because when you come to Deakin, you should already have money to pay your tuition fees and living costs. But this part-time money is for, going to the movies or buying clothes. So it's sort of fun money. But it's also a great way of building experience to put on your CV. So it might even be just working at McDonald's, and it may not be relevant to your degree, but having that on your CV shows that you have to follow instructions, that you've got good customer service and communication skills, that you have to be flexible and adaptable. So the part-time work is very important for earning some money, but also looks good on your resume.
Thanks, Karen. And that exposure to the Australian workforce is really valuable as you go on into full-time employment after you finish. But Ahan, I know that you're currently working in your relevant field in Australia. Could you share with us what you're doing?
So I'm working as a disability care worker. It is a supported residential services. So people with different conditions, physical or mental disabilities, they live here. We have around 40 residents. So part of my job is to administer medications to them, take care of their needs, take them out in park for exercise, take them shopping sometimes, and do whatever that needs to be done for them in the facility and sometimes outside. And as I'm doing Masters of Public Health, and I have taken some relevant units as well, like, we have a separate specialization in disability. So I am doing that as a part of my major in my Masters of Public Health, and I'm working here as a disability support worker. So it really aligned for me, I could say.
Fantastic, Ahan. Sounds like a great experience. And Krishna, I know you're in Indonesia, but you're also doing some work that's in your field. Would you be able to share with us what that is?
Yes. So last semester, I took an internship from the Freelancing Hub, just like Hoa said, it's related to Deakin Talent. At that time, I was looking for an internship, but I didn't find the one that is suitable for me. So somebody recommended me the internship hub, and actually they are very trusted, and also they let you choose what kind of organization do you want to be in. So that's a good start, and they also give you a very good experience, such as interview and also giving presentations and final presentation, something related to that. So I actually didn't join an internship that is related to my course because it was randomly. However, I get to do something that I master at, and also I learn new things because at that time I was working for netball association. Funny thing is, I only know what netball is when I joined the freelancing hub. Before that, I don't know about netball. Like, what is netball? Is that something like basketball? I don't know anything about netball at all. But because of freelancing hub, I learned new things, and I also polish my skill that I already have. And the best of it is that I met people from not only undergraduate student, but also the ones that already in their master degrees and my seniors and such. Yeah, from freelancing hub, I also make friends with them. Yeah, and now I'm doing the career development. They are like they are like the connecting unit that is focused more on what do you want to do after the university finish. Like they help you to make your resume and what to put on your LinkedIn profile. So it's actually very good. Yeah, they're both are a part of my unit.
Great, thanks, Krishna. It sounds like you might need to start a netball team over in Indonesia before you can get over here. Now, Gloria, we have had a question, and you talked about the job hub that Deakin Talent has and how you access them. Does Deakin help you to find the host for your internships, or do you have to self-source? How does that work?
So Deakin Talent has a jobs and internships board with a lot of opportunities. And what I did is I filtered out the jobs that are relevant to my field. I read through the description and then I applied to them. Deakin didn't help me with Deakin, of course, wouldn't help me write my resume or my cover letter, but I could write my resume, my cover letter, and then I submit them to Deakin Talent for review. And then they would help me on polishing my resume and my cover letter so that I could maximize my chances of getting the job.
Fantastic. Thanks, Gloria. Obviously, after you finish your studies with us, the ultimate goal is to get a job. So Karen, could you just share with us, you mentioned post-study work rights before for online students, but could you just share how long that is and what happens in terms of post-study work rights for students?
So post-study work rights is a fantastic opportunity for international students who study in Australia. So it enables you, if you're doing a 3-year degree, a 2-year degree, you can stay for another 2 years in Australia to work. It doesn't have to be in the same area that you've studied, but it just enables you to stay in Australia to work for longer. If you study at our Geelong or Warrnambool campuses, you get an extra year for your post-study work rights. So it means that you can remain in Australia up to 3 years instead of 2 years. Fantastic opportunity for you to get Australian work experience. So when you go home, you've got that global experience and will hopefully get you an even better job when you return back to your home country. So post-study work rights, it really makes it worthwhile coming to Australia to study.
Thanks, Karen. And we are starting to run out of time. So I just want to ask you one more question before I put the final question to our students. And you mentioned before about COVID bursary for students, and Ahan mentioned he'd also received a scholarship through the India team. I wonder if you could share with us about all scholarship and bursary opportunities for international students.
Absolutely. So I hope you've all had a chance to watch our information session on fees and scholarships. If you haven't yet, please do, because we go into a lot more detail. But there is the COVID bursary, which is 25% off your tuition fees whilst you're studying online and you're offshore. And once the borders open, that bursary will finish. But there's also other scholarships ranging in value from 100% down to 20%. Most of those require an application. So you need to check on our scholarship page to access the application. So I really recommend that you consider applying for the scholarships. If you've got at least an average of 65% and above, you might be eligible for the 20 or the 25% scholarships. If you've got an average of 85%, you'll be considered for the 50 or the 100% scholarships. But the COVID bursary awarded to everyone, you don't need to achieve a minimum academic entry requirement.
Thanks, Karen. That's really valuable. Good to know that there's so many options out there for our students. So we are about to run out of time, but I just want to have one quick final thought from each of our students. What's one recommendation you would each give to any student considering studying? Now, Krishna, I'm going to start with you, and I want you to give it to somebody who's considering whether they should start online or not.
Sorry, did you ask me?
Yes, please.
Just sorry, I didn't hear.
Advice to someone considering starting online.
Sorry, can you repeat it?
Sure. If you could just give us one piece of advice for somebody considering starting online.
Okay. So at first you have to be smart at managing your time, because it could be very tricky for you when you're at home and then you have you also have school. For me, it's kind of like you're having a holiday, but also you're not having a holiday. And also for international student like me, sometimes it's gonna be tricky with the time. So make sure that you have the the right time zone, because Australian time zone changes like from 3 hours different to 4 hours different. Been there, done that. So you have to be careful with that. And yeah, time management is very important. And also you have to check your materials in advance, so to make sure that you don't miss anything. that's my advice, I think, for the online studies.
Thanks, Krishna. Time management and organization from you. Ahan, what about from you? One piece of advice that you wish you knew before coming to Australia or you'd like to give to people?
One piece of advice what I would like to give to myself a year ago would be to access as much support as you can, because Deakin provides a lot of support academically, financially, and psychologically. We have counselors as well. Because of the COVID, there's a lot of stuff going on in my home country, for example, and we can access counselors as well. So support in all forms is right out there. It's just you who has to go and and ask for it, and Deakin will happily provide you any form of support that you need. That's my advice. Just
Great
go out
piece of advice.
and access support.
Great advice in the current environment. Access that support when you need it.
Absolutely.
And Gloria, final word from you if you would like to share a piece of advice to our audience listening today.
I guess I echo my co-speakers' views on the wide range of support resources that Deakin has. So Deakin does really have an ocean of support for you, from academic studying to psychological counseling, and this is a really safe and inclusive environment, and you're gonna have every opportunity that you need in order to kickstart your career and your study. We have amazing career support, and I highly recommend you to leverage all of these from your first day at Deakin, because 2 years or 3 years fly by very fast. I'm really glad that in my first year, I hadn't been apathetic. I had actually gotten involved, because in my second year, COVID happened. I couldn't go on campus. So just take advantage of all of these resources from day one. And I wish all of you would have a great journey with Deakin.
Great final piece of advice, and I completely echo the sentiment of just getting involved. That's where we see students always doing the best. So unfortunately, that is all that we do have time for today. I would like to thank our panelists for their time. It's been incredibly valuable to hear from each and every one of you about your experience, and I'm sure our audience valued it very much. And I'd like to also thank our audience for joining us. It was great to have so many questions coming through, and as I mentioned, there is an opportunity to go onto that live chat if you've got some specific questions that you'd like to have answered at the moment, or if we weren't able to get to them. We have mentioned that there are some other sessions on the live open day site. So for international students in particular, you'll be able to find some sessions there about applying to Deakin, as well about fees and scholarships, and of course the international student live session. So you can go and access and learn a little bit more about Deakin, as well as lots of course information sites and other useful resources. So we do hope that wherever you are in the world right now, you and your loved ones are really keeping safe, taking care of yourselves, and please continue to be in contact with Deakin. We would absolutely love to support you on your journey to us. So thanks to our panelists, thanks to our audience, and for your time today, and we hope to see you all at Deakin soon.